It's Monday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. How are you doing, Nima Akashat Zubiri? How was your weekend?
I'm grateful to God. I've not been the best of mothers. So yesterday, I was supposed to, after spending the weekend with my mom, checking on her, I decided to take I promised my kids that they'll go to a fun fair happening at the JJT Park, organized by our Kem and Super Tongue. Unfortunately, the rains were very, very generous yesterday. It wasn't going to be possible. And so I've not heard the last of it from both of my kids, who I had promised the weekend away and, fun at the park. The entire holiday, it didn't happen. And we did not even shop for school. So if you're a mother like me, beat yourself, because I'm really beating myself right now. But I'm also very happy and grateful. For the month of August, we're able to raise 540,500 for the Dorcas Cancer Foundation. And we have started the month of September, which is the month for childhood cancer awareness. And at least that one worked. The other one did not work. So we would console ourselves and encourage to do better. So today, after the show, I'm shopping.
Oh, fantastic.
Cool. Yes.
Nice. How you doing, Mariam?
Fine. Like you too, I feel like a terrible mom. My daughter actually is not resuming school today because we are yet to be done with her. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this new month. I just feel like I'm excited about it. I've got some things on ground and I'm hoping to see them come to fruition. Yeah.
Nice. How you doing, Tope?
Very grateful to God. Thankfully, our school is resuming on Wednesday, so we have time.
Okay.
We're all in the same category. I haven't shopped for shoes or bags or... I know we need these things. So, and it's really, really sad that we left it to last minute. People actually should. Some people do this earlier, but I think we're going to be doing crash shopping between today and tomorrow. And I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I'll post it on my social media page. There's something going to happen tomorrow from my company, and I'm really, really praying to God everything works out well, because we had to shift it from Saturday to Tuesday, and we're crossing our fingers that click.
Congratulations. Nice, nice. Yeah, so I also did some school shopping. I bought some really nice flasks at Tekmori.
You really food flasks. I think Tekmori might be the right place.
Really nice food flasks. And I don't like those double ones because it's just too bogus, you know. Like just really, really nice, cute ones, and that still has the 2 compartments. Okay. Just right. I was so excited. It was expensive.
Everything is expensive.
There's one I got, but that gives you like a 20-year warranty.
That would be really expensive.
Well,
but quality.
I mean, it's really good.
So when I was going shopping, I now asked her, I was like, okay, who needs shoes? Because I'm not buying shoes. So I said, can you call? And I bring out all the shoes for inspection. I checked, this one can still do another term. So I'm only buying one shoe for one person. That's only good. But the other one said you can still manage at least one term.
My children, their feet grows like every month.
I bought twice last year.
Oh, okay.
So I bought September, then I bought December, January. So January, so I said we're not buying new ones. So only the little boy got a new pair.
My boy refused to wear his shoes today. So I'm going to wear my sandal. You know that sandal, that uniform sandal? I'm going to wear my sandals. Okay, wear it. School later.
I didn't buy school bags. That means
yeah, school bag still works.
Still works.
Ain't broken.
Still works, man. I'm not buying that. Let's go on a break. It's Monday. We come back. Going to go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Going to start with the nation. NNPCL. Petrol is to sell for 462 to the litre without subsidy. PDP crisis, hope dims for reconciliation. Nigeria seeks debt for climate swap deal. 15-year jail term awaits land grabbers in Oyo. Banks cut work hours to save operational costs. IG to U.S. government. No threat to next year's election. And ASU raises 7-man panel to counter smear campaign. Which story are we starting with?
I'd like to start with the Oyo land grabber. So, as far as I'm aware, I think only Lagos State has a law against land grabbing, and they also had the task force for the enforcement of abuses of land grabbers. So, Oyo now has inaugurated the task force unit, and this inauguration was done by the Deputy Governor of Oyo State. And according to them, the task force has the duty of ensuring that land grabbing is entirely stamped in Oyo State. There's also a 15-year jail term, enough deterrence for anybody who is arrested activities related to land grabbing and convicted of such an offense in Oyo State. So I think it's the way to go. The real estate and real property business, this is a serious menace, and any state that is serious has to do something about it.
I'm waiting for them to also do a policy for Omonilers that do not grab your land but make you pay every time you visit your land.
It's part of that's what land grabbing is about. Now you know one.
Okay. Yes, our Vice President has been in the United States, and he's been at different forums and events, and he's trying to sell this idea he calls the debt for climate swap with our creditors. They said in America, meeting at the White House, they think this is fresh thinking, they love the idea. So he tries to explain it here. I will just read it exactly as he says. He says that our Vice President explains that the debt for climate swap is a type of debt swap where bilateral, multilateral debt is forgiven by creditors in exchange for commitment by the debtor to use the outstanding debt service payments for national climate action programs. So you know now, the world, we're looking towards clean energy and so many other things concerning just the way forward as regards climate change and the positive impact countries can make. And one of the continents that's really lagging behind when it comes to
Africa
movements like this is our continent, and Nigeria is one of those countries. And he's saying that, okay, we owe you money, but you also want us to do this as regards climate. We'll do that. The money we're meant to pay back, we'll use it to invest in things that will bring about renewable energy. And they think it's a fantastic idea. They're like, this is fresh thinking. It makes me feel so proud. And that they will look into it, and then we'll see what the outcome would be.
There's a lot of talking going on in Nigeria, but we'll see how it goes. I was going to take the major headlines. So this issue of petrol subsidy is still ongoing. So if you recall, last week, the Controller General of the Customs was saying that, I think Nima took that story, was insisting that 98 million litres leave our country daily. Or it's produced and be sold daily.
Released by
NNPC daily. However, NNPC was saying that, so he was not saying there was a difference because NNPC was saying that 68 million. He was saying that so there's about 30 million, 38 million
extra
that are obviously being smuggled out of the country. Either way, NNPC is saying categorically that they put the numbers together. It's looking like 462 naira 2 litres once they add transportation, landing costs, and the removal of subsidy. They were likely to pay 462 naira to the litre if they eventually take out stock subsidy. They didn't tell us how much it will cost if Dangote Refinery starts and then we start producing internally. We don't have that cost yet. But they were trying to, they kept saying that they only produce 60 million litres a day. Although, I don't know where Mr. Controller General got 98 million. Even I heard that the Senate President was, or somebody was saying...
Not only him, somebody, another agency had agreed with him. Somebody else had...
No, but we can do the calculation by backward calculation of how much we are paying in subsidy.
So we can say what is the daily... The Honourable Minister of Finance did that, and she said that she was able to actually confirm that we do about 68 million litres.
How can we be confused when we are spending trillions of naira? Please, let me take the story of banks. But everybody is trying to cut, adjust. And 2 banks have come up and joined the people that are cutting their hours to... They close at 3 o'clock right now. GT Bank has done it before. First Bank had done it earlier in the year. But now UBA as well as Access Bank have now joined about 83 branches, a few branches that they publicized that these branches would be closing from 3 p.m. and it is addressing inflation, though UBA said it is the well-being and safety. That's their own reason for closing early. But Access Bank was like, we're closing, all the other channels are open. So now how do we get other people that don't use other channel? And when network fails you, you cannot do banking transactions after 3 p.m. in most of the branches right now.
One important information that I missed out from the NNPC story is that they are willing to open their books for audits. If you recall, I think the CGL, the Comptroller General, was also demanding that nobody has audited the papers for the NNPC. So they're saying, we're opening our books, we're offering our books to be open. Please come and bring an independent auditor to come and check our books.
Billions of naira to
Moving on now to the Punch. NDLEA files 24 charges, seizes 14 mega assets. 2 dead, other traps in Lagos building collapse. Ogun Lagos Rivers communities battle hazardous waste. Atiku no threat to Tinubu, Obi social media creation says on Nanuga. Subscribers failed to use 98.75 million SIM, says report. And Discos lose 543 billion naira, power generation drops by 642 megawatts. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Let me take hazardous waste. as communities in Ogun, Lagos, and Rivers States are seriously lamenting the effects of this waste. The Punch went around, interviewing residents. We have this particular group in Ogun State, Songota, and their complaint is that there's this liquid waste that's being released from the companies around them, and it's been eroding their drainages and some of them their houses as well. And they said that they have been battling this fight, back and forth with these companies. Punch went ahead to, talk to a few of the people who work in these companies. A few of them, or all of them, didn't want to be mentioned, of course, it was just anonymously. But many of them denied to be the ones pushing out this particular liquid. Some say we do powder for our own chocolate, water, just we're not the particular ones. But I guess with what you can trace the source, right? Mm-hmm. So we'll see how that happens. In other communities too, is a stench that comes from a dump site, from the waste that these companies drop there. It's just so many places like that across the states. And we have heard these complaints over and over again. A lot of them, of course, are calling to the commissioners of environment in the various states to look into these things and do something. It seems to me like, commissioners or the Ministry of Environment is really struggling on the best way forward. But we need to realize that this has an impact on people, and we need to do something quickly about it.
Okay.
Major headline.
Major headline, NDLEA.
Yes, the NDLEA are continuing with the trial of the ex-IRT commander, Abakari. They also uncovered 14 assets belonging to him and disguised in different names. So they're charging him for what they call the, sorry, I'm trying to get the exact, money laundering, under the Money Laundering Prohibition Act, for laundering monies through ownership of these properties. They also charged two of his relatives whose names, one Ali Kyari and Mohammed Kyari, whose names are also used in the disguise of these properties. He's also supposed to own about 207 million naira and 17,000 euros plus euros in several accounts in Nigeria across the country, which are all proceeds of his activities in the drug and other related offenses. Properties across Abuja, Polo Ground and Maiduguri. Polo Ground, this guy is unexplainably rich. Except he did not own the properties. Unexplainably rich. So what does the average DCP of any police officer rank of his own? And how do you explain the assets? Yeah. What did his father do? Was his father Dangote's cousin? How did he arrive at this amount of money? That, for me, I think is the question here. Mm-hmm. But I'm happy that, 24 additional charges have been leveled against him. I hope that he...
Asset declaration for police officers, right? I know they do.
They do, and because of investigation, he didn't disclose.
Oh. Okay, let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with our reviews. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We still have one more story in Punch.
Yes, so there's a report that's about 98.75 million SIMs are not being used. The total number of SIMs that have been sold is over 208 million as of July this year, with 2.5 million new subscribers joining active network within that same July. But they noticed that some people are not using, a lot of people are not using their SIM, like 98 million SIMs are not being used. The complaints are some of them are maybe students that only use their SIM on holiday periods. There are those that have traveled out of the country that still keep their SIM. People that have relocated, they said they also have issues with people that have 2 or 3 lines but use one more. So they keep the line, but it is not in active use. So it's open. Maybe they just barely recharge it, but it's not in use. And they are feeling like a lot more needs to be done. There is also the conversation around the NIN blocking some numbers and how that is affecting people that are not reactivating. So the SIMs are dead, it's been sold, but it's been blocked, so it's no longer in use. And the total number is 98.75. I was wondering what the solution would be. There was none. And right now, NIMS has been down for like 3 weeks.
Yes.
So if your line is blocked or bad, you cannot activate your line for the past 3 weeks because NIN portal, NIMS, is down. And then they said a lot of accounts were blocked because they are trying to they need to reactivate them. So there's a lot going on with our telecommunications from both the Telecom's end and even from the regulator's end in making it work well. We really need improvement.
Okay, so the PDP crisis seems to have deepened because 2 vice chairmen, they didn't mention their names in this report in Daily Sun. Oh, actually, I have not mentioned the Daily Sun. Let's watch Daily Sun. Daily Sun. IU battles for survival as PDP crisis worsen. NNPC offers to submit to forensic audit of fuel supply. Gunmen behead Telecom director, kill NSCDC officer, abduct 35 passengers in Ondo and Ekiti. 2023, PDP tackles Tinubu over comment on opposition party. NDDC Oshomole Akeredolu Sylvia fights over MD as litigation threatens board inauguration. Bloody day in Lagos, Abuja, Niger as 2 die, scores injured in Lagos collapsed building. Alaafin to Kingmakers shortlist 86 contestants. Government holds peace parley. And Atiku promises women, youths 40% cabinet positions. Okay, that's 5 months to election. So I was going to take the major headline, which is about the crisis in PDP. So 2 vice chairmen in the PDP have also joined the campaign for the chairman himself, Dr. Iyorchia Ayu, to step aside. If you recall, that's the ongoing crisis that was initiated after the presidential flag bearer, Atiku Abubakar, had picked Governor Okowa of Delta State as his running mate. And Governor Wike was insisting that in accepting that, the condition is for the chairman the national chairman of the party, Dr. Ayu, to step aside. Now, more parties, this has caused polarization within the party because some are supporting and some are against. Various groups, the Governors Forum, board of the BOTs, the Board of Trustees, the National Executive Council, quite a number of groups have totally been polarized because they are divided on this issue of should Ayu resign. And Ayu himself has said last week that he is not resigning. And these are all small boys, that he was constitutionally elected and he has no reason to resign. So this has deepened the crisis because more people are now calling for his resignation.
So I have the Telecom boss who was declared missing. His name is Benga Olofimoyegu. In Ondo State, the Ondo State police spokesperson has declared him found but dead. He headed and organs taken out of his body. Jesus. It was only easy to identify because of the suit he was wearing before his abduction. Oh my God. And they're doing a search, investigating, because they found his phone on him to see if it was a case of ritualism or just another thing. And also in the same story, they have a case of an NSCDC officer who was shot on his way to Kogi State, his hometown, by kidnappers, and they continued and abducted other people in his, on that road. But he was killed, and the NSCDC has confirmed that as well.
This is so sad. Any other story in Daily Sun?
Yes, there is. I want to take the story of the NDDC. I have been following this story, and we've been waiting for them for a constitutional board to be appointed, a substantive board, because they've been having temporary people managing the affairs of NDDC since. Now they are about to do that. Internal crises are brewing between stakeholders. These are allegedly the former chairman of APC, Adam Soshomole, has penciled down someone from Edo State, the Eze Yamo, to be the new MD of NDDC. And Akeredolu is saying that, the governor Akeredolu is saying that it's, in fairness, it's time for Ondo State to also get, but within his party, the people that he's pushed forward are not from the oil-producing area of Ondo State, so that's also meeting with challenges. People are, the South Elders Progressive Forum is also accusing the Attorney General of supporting Edo becoming the Edo State, and Edo Indigene becoming the next MD. at the end of the day, all through the conversation, there's nothing to be spoken about the fact that we need to drill down on the effectiveness of NDDC and the challenges NDDC has been through since, where a lot of money has gone through and there's no substantial infrastructural development on ground. It is all about where the new MD comes from and who the EDs are going to be. Can we just sit, like...
That's the Nigerian story. Nobody cares about the work. That whose turn is it? Is it your turn? Is it my turn? Is it... Moving on now to Vanguard. Worry in APC, PDP, ADC as party chairman battle conflicts. 2023, Northern senators, others upset over Wike's opposition to Atiku, says source. How federal government saved Ajaokuta steel industry, reduced dispute cost of $496 million, says Malami. Harris Holdings appoints NNPC Osadolo board members. No threat to Nigeria's 2023 elections, IGP assures UN police chiefs. Daily fuel supply remains 68 million litres, says NNPC. And will be not fundraising tour, says media office. Okay, which story?
Let me take our IGP, the Inspector General of Police, Usman Ali Baba, at the United Nations Chief of Police Summit, UN COPS in the USA, while he was talking. He just says that he's convinced that he's convinced that there are no threats as regards our upcoming 2023 elections, and that his conviction and confidence comes from the robust security threat analysis that have been carried out using global best standards to ascertain the trend of expectations for electioneering process. And in addition to that, he also talked about the need and the focus of Nigerian police force on improved training and retraining of police officers and men, and then also sustenance and improvement of cutting-edge technology for better crime prevention, deterrence, and apprehension. So he's just saying that they are focused on making sure that our policemen are better trained, constant training, and of course the need for improved technology. But that based on the analysis that they have done, we have no reason to be afraid concerning security threats going forward during the elections.
Okay, so Ajaokuta, so the media aide to the Attorney General of the Federation said that during the mediation to settle this long-standing contractual dispute they have with the company that was initially got the concession of the Ajaokuta Steel Company, they were able to save over 91% of the cost of that mediation, which was from $5.2 billion. They were able to reduce the cost to $496 million. So they saved the country that huge amount of money, which is commendable. And we hope that, subsequently when contracts are entered into on behalf of the country, the interest of the country is all that they think about.
Okay, the points, 5 months to go, how the presidential candidates stand. Things fall apart in ADC as Kachuku and Wosu fight for soul of party. Naira sheds weight at parallel market as panic buying continues. Airport security man beats laborer to death over alleged refusal to dispose refuse.
Oh my God.
Father jailed 2 years for eating goat meat stolen by 10-year-old son.
So
which one do you have?
Yes, the airport security that killed who he allegedly called a laborer, but the account of the Commissioner for Infrastructural Development within the state says that she was a hawking within the airport, cargo airport in, sorry, I'm trying to get the state, Ebonyi State Cargo Airport. So usually they would come around and there was this corn stock, kept somewhere, and he had asked her to clear it. And she refused because, she, according to the story, she couldn't understand why she would be the one to clear something she wasn't responsible for gathering. And so he took a pipe and continued to hit her on the head till she collapsed. She was rushed to the hospital, but she didn't make it alive to the hospital. She died on her way. And now, unfortunately, he's been arrested. He'll be made to face it. I hope this is an example to those people who like to carry fight on their head to know better. But he will at least get a manslaughter.
I have another story in the point. So a man, Mr. Francis Chukwuma Ogali, has been sentenced to 2 years imprisonment and also given given an option of 100,000 naira fine. His son, a 10-year-old, has stolen a goat or 2 goats and cooked with it, and his father ate the meal. And they brought them to court. And his defense is that he did not realize that it was stolen. He came home,
10-year-old.
He was hungry, he's a widower, and he ate the food. But the complainant said that this man is well known for allowing his children go out and steal for him, and they will eat it. And in this particular case, they buried the remains of the goat so that people would not know that he's the one. So he's been.
Isn't it interesting how convictions like this, you quickly get them? You know, they stole goods, they slap somebody, this kind of things, you get them to court and quickly, you know, find them. But those big billions, you're waiting
like
years, you're going back, you're still waiting.
7 years.
This kind of matter, they stole goods. I don't want to quickly go to court.
We're stealing goods.
That's all we can take on front pages. Work is just starting. Let us not get dramatic too soon. We'll be right back with our hot topic. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So in Lagos, the news of building collapsing has become a usual occurrence over the weekend. A 7-story building under construction in Lekki area was reported to have collapsed, with 2 people confirmed dead and several others trapped. Speaking on the rescue operation is Dr. Oluwafemi Osanyitolu, the Permanent Secretary of Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, on the updates. Good morning, sir. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
So before I even ask you the why, could you confirm indeed there are 2 deaths and what exactly happened on Sunday at the collapse? How many people have survived and how many people were confirmed dead?
Well, we were informed at 3:15 and we activated our emergency response plan. We were able to recover 2 bodies and, you know, the operation is still going. But however, when we got to the scene, we were informed by one of the workers that there are 6 people that were trapped inside that rubbles. And we use a lot of techniques and technology using a DELSA. There's an equipment that we have, which we call DELSA, will detect any living person under the rubbles. And we use it to comb that zone at different levels, both up, down, inside, and we did a lot of probing. We did not detect any living person. But despite that fact, we still rely on the information given to us. And we will now said operationally that zone that they term that the people were trapped, we call it outhouse zone. Where the people are not, we call it middle zone. And the inner side where we were informed that it was a storage angle, we call it inner zone. So at the outhouse zone, we use different technology, techniques, different apparatus. We use what we call hammer pinhole excavator, and we move in from the top to the ground zero yesterday morning. And at the 3rd level, that is where we recovered 2 bodies. And we moved straight to the ground zero at that area. We did not detect any other people. And at the operational middle level, we got to level 2, and we use a pinhole tool to detect whether there's anybody in there. We did not. And at the inner level, we moved to ground 1. We put a lot of things there. We did not. But you see, when you are talking in terms of search and rescue operation, you must get to ground zero in all levels, and we are still doing that. My team are still on the ground since yesterday. We are moving steadily to ground zero.
Just to clarify, you said that using your equipment, you didn't detect any living body.
We did not.
Okay, so does that mean that they could be dead, or you mean that there's no human body in the rubble?
No, they could be dead.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? They could be dead. The dead side will not dictate whether anybody is dead. But it will dictate if you are still alive. You get what I'm saying? And we have a drone that we flew in yesterday to comb around the place to check.
How long is the rescue mission supposed to take?
Well, when you are talking about rescue mission, it doesn't take any, you can't say 5, 10 minutes because more painstaking in ensuring that you get to ground zero. It could be 2, it could be 3. It depends on the type of the terrain. So you can't be specific. It depends on different type of disaster and different types of terrain.
Yeah, I read somewhere yesterday that response wasn't swift as at the time that collapse happened. How quick? When did you receive the? Well,
I disagree with that because the most interesting thing is that the ONU activated our response line, and the response plan was activated at 3:15 a.m. That is when we got the distress call, and I moved to the scene. I got to number one. When it was activated by 3:15 a.m., we have the local committee and we have the zonal office, which is close by. They move in and commence the search and rescue, I think, around 3:20. Because if you look at our Lekki base and that place, it's just about 5 minutes. And they move in, they started combing using different technology. We moved our heavy duty, can't you see that hammer something being used at that something? You can see it's different from the normal excavator. Now, let me now point it out. We moved all these excavator from our Kappa base. They got there less than 20 minutes. And they were ushered in with our bikes. And fortunately for us, it was around 3:15. There was not much go-slow traffic. So, and I got to the scene at 3:25 a.m.
10 minutes.
Yeah. So you can see technically that when my zonal officer was there and I got in there 3:25, you will discover that that timing, while my people got there, is about 5 minutes. While I got there, is about 3:25 minutes, and I got there with all the heavy duties. Something.
Getting your pajamas?
And prior to that, excuse me.
You get in your pajamas. It's 10 minutes. You get a call. 10 minutes. That's you in your pajamas.
Now, let me tell you something. We are always prepared for any form of emergency. You get what I'm saying? And you will know. I've been trained in this for over 30 years. So you discover that morning, afternoon, I will always take my time. So by midnight, I will always prepare for any form of emergency. You know, I'm a medical doctor. I will always be reading during that time. So immediately anything occur, I just get into, I'll be like a Boy Scout, be prepared. I just get into my vehicle and I will move on because all my jackets, all my PPE are inside my vehicle. And my vehicle that I will use for the operation are always at alert. And my drivers works 24 hours.
Okay. You know, honestly, every time I hear you, I have no doubt about your desire to respond at the earliest time and your passion for your job. But one of the things that doctors will tell you is prevention is better than trying to cure a challenge. You know?
Yes.
And it helps us to raise awareness and deal with the issues before it becomes a problem. So this is another case where a building was already marked.
Yes.
They had already said this is not a conducive building, and yet it was sealed open, until a collapse that resulted in 2 lives being lost. How are you dealing with getting buildings that are already sealed, never to be open until it's been properly certified conducive?
Okay, now let's look at it holistically. Now, number one, the building has been sealed. There must be a reason why that building is sealed. And you see, when we are talking about disaster comes with a multi-factors. And you know, right now, this is a man-made disaster. So the constant K in that is the habits of our people. You see, let's be honest with ourselves. We are part of the government. This is a democratic government. It's the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So we must realize that safety of life and property should be in our hands. You won't believe it that Thursday, this Thursday, the Oniru of Oniru was shouting that this building is about to collapse. And they sealed the place up. The people of the building controlling agency moved to the scene.
So what happened?
The recklessness of our people. Do you know what? The place was sealed up. The place was locked up. And at night, they went there to go and sleep.
Oh.
You get what I'm saying? So you can say that the government, under the watch of Mr. Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu, has done the needful here.
All right.
But the most important thing is our people need to change their behavior. That is the factor in here.
Right. Thank you very much, sir. It's a pleasure. At least I'm happy that we have the equipment for this. And we only hope that our people also do better.
Yes.
So when the building is sealed, I think we need a campaign. As you and the other agencies involved must do a proper sensitization.
You are part of us. So you should help us talk to the people. People need to change their attitude. People need to put safety into their hands. People need to realize that emergency management is everywhere.
Some of these workers, they don't speak English, they don't speak Yoruba, they don't speak our languages. They're coming from all either Togo. So these are people that we need to sensitize. So these are workers you're bringing in from all over the world. You need to really sensitize and let them know. Once it is sealed, don't go in there. But there's a lot of work that has to be done. That's all we can take. Thank you so much, sir, for giving us this update.
Thank you very much.
How is Charlie?
Charlie is there. We moved in our Charlie there. We moved in our life there. And the Super Eagle was really on the ground.
All right. Let's go on a break. When we come back, move on to other stories. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. This morning, we're going to be talking about PMS. So, if you recall, last Thursday, the Controller General of the Nigerian Customs Service, NCS, Ahmed Ali, faulted the over 6 trillion naira allegedly being paid as fuel subsidy on the petrol. So, NNPC also said this one, as I said, they only produced about 60 million. However, he was insisting that they produce. NNPC actually does produce 98 million litres of PMS daily. And also, he said that about 38 million litres of PMS is the difference, is being released, obviously, to external markets. Now, we'll be having a conversation with an expert a bit later on this. But we'd like to hear your thoughts on different aspects, especially because on the front page today, NNPC did come out to say that if they did remove subsidy and add other landing costs and all that, we end up paying 462 naira to the litre. So the question is this sustainable? Are Nigerians prepared to pay this high? And do you think the Controller General is right by suggesting that we're actually producing or releasing 98 million litres to the market, when NNPC is insisting they only release 60,000 litres to the market? What are your general thoughts on this? Because at the end of the day, we're expecting Dangote's refinery, and we're hoping that should reduce costs. Will the cost really reduce? We'll get an expert to give us all those explanations. But first, what are your thoughts on the potential 462 naira we may be paying if indeed subsidy is truthfully, realistically removed? You can call us on the numbers on your screen, 081270 53687, 09139076948. You can also tweet us at TVC. Can I please hashtag your view TVC so we can read your tweets? Nima, let me let you start.
Okay, so
what are your thoughts on this?
No matter what NNPC says on this, I'm on the Controller General side of things. The reason is because NNPC, up until the Controller General was before the Finance Committee, did not tell us clearly or reiterate why they insist on 68 million litres daily consumption.
60.
The 68, the Controller General is saying there's 98. NNPC is now saying it's still 68. Initially, they said 60. Now they said it's now 68, just to cover the difference. And they're now opening their books that was not open till they become a private limited or a public company till now. They're now saying, no, bring your auditors, we'll open our books. NNPC have no clean books. Personally, that's what I think. Because you're a company and you're supposed to be making revenue, you insist that, you pay subsidy and you cannot pay revenue and we have to borrow. The books have never been tidy. So many gray areas. So I don't trust the NNPC as an entity. I think that, the House Committee and the Senate Committee on Finance should do more to probe the NNPC directors, past directors, whoever has held, and even the Minister for Petroleum, who is the president, for having the last call on things in that area. Now, the Controller General is saying, even if it is the 68 million that the new one they arrive at that we are consuming, how can it be released daily and consumed daily? And even me as a car owner who uses petrol, logistics-wise, if I buy a full tank, I use it for a week, and you say you release 68 million daily, if it's the same number of us using it, how come we go up all of that and use it up all daily? Which is one of the questions the Controller General is asking. It's like fetching water in a drum that lasts you 3 days. If you spend 300 naira fetching water in a drum for 3 days, now, you can only do another day filling it up with 100. No, I'm telling you, it's
but they didn't say 3 days.
I'm using common sense. No, that's an example.
Yeah, I'm just saying, but let's
I'm making an example here.
Let's do it properly.
Wait.
If you fill your drum in the morning, right? What he's saying is that I fill my drum in the morning and I take it and I travel, and it travels all across the country. That drum coming back to where it was filled is almost logistics-wise, it doesn't sound like it's realistic for you to refill again and then the next day sell. That was it.
But what if it is different people?
I'm using the consumer's calculation now. If I fill my drum 300 naira for 3 days, how come somebody is explaining to me that what they release to me is the same amount of water for every day? That's what I'm saying. So if what you have given me is lasting me 3 days, it means that 2 days have been removed from my own consumption. Somebody else, explain to us how.
I'm giving somebody else, okay.
So if we now cross border, you will see that black market is cheaper in Cotonou. Pump price there, yes. And black market is what most people would buy. And so we know where our fuel is going, from Sanusi and Okonjo-Iweala.
There wasn't a probe with the Ziani when they
went. But for NNPC to come and clash with the Controller General, whose gates they pass through. No, they are clashing now. He's saying 98, they are saying 68. Okay, I don't talk.
No, but my own is that, where did Controller General get 98? I've not seen 98 figure at all. He came up with
No, now they release them. He said NNPC releases.
Okay, so...
They say we consume... Sorry, Miriam. I read the story last week.
Yes.
He says NNPC will consume 68 million, but they released 98 million.
Where did he get that information from? How did he know how
NNPC is coming out to say, we are insisting you consume. Nobody's telling us what we release. See, fuel is not disappearing.
Can I just read what he said? Because you are saying there are some figures I think we need to clarify. You may be mixing them up. So the figure he's saying, and this is coming from Customs, is saying that based on NNPC's computation, yourselves, they have claimed, that's NNPC, claims that we are consuming 60 million litres of PMS per day. And also by NNPC's computation that they release 98 million litres per day. So there's a difference of 38 million. So Customs is asking, so where's the 38 million going?
Thank you.
Where is that difference going?
Why would you release
extra? And since we cannot figure out where that is going, that is where the allegation of, are we sending it outside our country?
And a further conspiracy corruption is that, why would you release 38 million extra? You are coming out to insist what we are consuming. You are not discussing what you're releasing. And based on what you release is what we will calculate the subsidy will pay.
Yes.
So you cannot put us in debt and not be able to explain that gray area. Now, if you want to compare to other countries that produce oil, they trace every litre and they'll be able to account for every litre to the last bus stop. Why is NNPC unable to account for every single litre to the last bus stop, to the last consumer?
Yeah, so that's my own question. That's my own question as well, really, to have NNPC respond to these questions. And because whether we like it or not, our whole like our whole country depends on it.
Economy.
We're constantly borrowing money, and we have an 11 trillion naira bill that we're planning to put towards subsidy. Subsidy that we have been paying for so many years, and as of today, we're still arguing how much we're supplying, how much we're consuming, where it's going. So what has happened in these few years that we have let things go, that we have not put an eye properly on what we are spending money on? We are borrowing money. Education is at risk, health facilities at risk, because we're borrowing money to pay for subsidy. And yet, in 2022, we're arguing how much we're supplying, who is consuming what, if there's really smuggling going on, or if it's just a group of people sitting down and making money off of this subsidy. It is important that these questions are answered, and it's important that a proper forensic investigation and audit is done on NNPC. Like yesterday, I just don't understand that in 2022, at this point when we're even discussing whether we should go on with subsidy or not, we're discussing how much it is that we're supplying and where the supply is going. It should not be rocket science. I mean, it leaves a trail. Oil would not just, disappear into thin air. There is a place that is being offloaded, and there's a place that it goes. What roads? Who are the companies that who are the companies that are supplying these things? Right. How many trucks are supplying it? What time of the day are they leaving? When do they get to their depots? All these things should just be
confusion
normal
right now
for us.
Because maybe you have the data and I don't have it, because from all the reports I read, there's no way NNPC, maybe I missed it somewhere, NNPC is saying, in fact, that they released 98 million litres. That's where I'm getting confused, because the report I read today and the report I read last week, the theft, 98 million litres, came directly from the Controller General. That's my question, because NNPC is telling us they are releasing 60 million, although the Finance Minister is saying it's actually 68 based on the calculation of how much subsidy she's paying. So where the 98 million litres came from, that's my own question. But either way, let me let you have your own intro before I go on a break.
Okay, so for me, I feel that for every country, for you to solve the problem, you must thoroughly investigate. We have professors in economy. We have people that are studying, doing their PhD. One of the core problems we have as a country right now is how do we pay subsidy? How do we sustain the subsidy payment? Should we remove subsidy? Would I just survive without the subsidy? This is the biggest thesis anybody studying anything related to economy in Nigeria should be investigating. Why do we need to wait for the government to release forensic reports? Where is the place of the people doing the research? We had the professor of transportation come here and say, we've done A, B, C, D. Korokwe cannot sustain Lekki, Ekpe Expressway. We cannot have bikes like this. This is what we've studied. This is the emission. That is the kind of thing I want to hear. I don't want to hear assumptions from left, right, and people making conclusions without any clear investigation. So we know for a fact that we're spent trillions. We're going to spend over 6 trillion naira this year on subsidy based on how much we spend every day on subsidy. That is a fact. How do we avoid this? We cannot afford it. So if we are going to be having any conversation, it should be based on, we've done this level of research. This professor of economy is coming with this solution. Right now, we have, all of us are just going to talk here and complain.
I think we're all just a bunch of hypocrites, because we know the answers to this question. But
it's not about subsidy removal, Burayo.
Okay.
I am not against subsidy removal alone.
Many of us.
I am saying that removing subsidy is like somebody is having a headache, you cut off the head.
No.
Deal with the problem. You will still remove the subsidy. But if you don't deal with the problem, the subsidy will just be...
people suffer for nothing. That's
so
what
is the real problem? The real problem is that we have a corrupt system.
But clean it up first. So that if this 464, if it is the honest, sincere amount of that money, nobody will have an issue paying. But don't make us pay 464 when the actual amount we should be paid is 360 something. Don't use the cost of the kiniko other countries to arrive at what we do here. Now we're looking at Dangote, but you're not
Dangote is not the only one.
You're not even factoring local production inside.
There are many other local productions.
Too many corruption.
Let's go on a break, because we're talking about the issue, the inadequate, or no, the numbers we're seeing.
Yes.
Right? That's one angle.
So let's claim that.
The second angle is the price, the potential price we're going to pay.
Yes.
These are the two issues we wanted to have a conversation. When we come back, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So, as I said, we're going to bring in an expert to discuss, and we'll open our phone lines also to hear from Nigerians, because this issue of the fraud, the alleged fraud going on within the petroleum industry, and the fact that Nigerians may be paying 462 to the litre if indeed subsidy is removed. That's our conversation this morning. And we're referencing the conversation by the Controller General of Customs, who was alleging that 98 million litres are released into the market every single day. And it was worried about the logistics of that. So when I look at the calculations, because each truck is about 33,000 litres. So if we divide that, so by 98 million, we're talking about 2,969. That's about 3,000 trucks leaving the depot every single day. So when he says logistics, he's saying that if 3,000 trucks leave today, those 3,000 come back again to load for exactly for the next day. That's what he's saying. So that doesn't make any logical sense. So there's all some kind of fraud going on somewhere, and the numbers are not adding up. That's on one angle. The second angle is, are Nigerians prepared to pay 462? And if indeed we're able to resolve this possible fraud, would it reduce the cost of importation? Will it reduce the cost of subsidy removed? Will it reduce the cost per litre to the person? That's what Nigerians really want to know.
Please, I want to talk about the refineries, because, you know, we've been talking about Dangote Refinery like that's the only refinery, and I've read and I've seen openings of other private refineries. According to the report I'm reading, we have a private refinery in Imo, Delta, Edo. OPAC Refinery in Kwale has been unable to, and all these local refineries are not getting crude oil to produce locally. So we have refineries that are not working. Here, the OPAC Refinery in Kwale said that they got checked and approved by the defunct DPR. But after they've been approved, NNPC refused to give them crude oil. And now they have capacity to refine 10,000 barrels per day, but they don't have crude oil to refine. They are not working. So these are local refineries in Nigeria that would have dropped the cost of us getting petrol and diesel in Nigeria that are not working.
You must understand there are other factors that could
So the conversation, according to what the report was saying, was that the policy NNPC is using now is what they call direct. They do like a direct exchange where they give direct sale, direct purchase. But they are alleging that some of these crude oil trades are not going to put their own refinery. And if we're actually doing a direct sale and direct purchase, we shouldn't be paying this much cost as we're paying. Is it true that NNPC hasn't given local refineries crude oil officially? If it is true, what is the problem? Because
so I think it needs to be backed up by legislature, because I know that giving modular refineries the license to refine is a whole different... And so that's a different conversation.
You must also give them crude oil, because they're not having to source crude oil from private...
I remember the vice president was trying to push for this, and we need to know exactly what happened, because there was a time he was campaigning that we must empower modular refineries to work. That's the only way we can support NNPC to supply to those, and even trace how much.
Because the report came because they were complaining that private refinery operators in Nigeria are groaning under the lack of NNPC supplying them crude oil.
As I said, there are other factors, because there are also health factors, there are mechanical factors, there are what's the health and safety issues. There are various factors that many private companies may not be able to do like NNPC. So yes, I agree with you, but let us also get the full picture.
You're not trying to understand.
Let's get the full picture.
No. Why would you license a person?
It is
what it takes to build a refinery.
My point
no matter how small, why would you allow a person invest in building? License the person to, because if they don't license, you can't even sell kerosene inside tank. So if they don't, why would you license a person to build and run and then refuse to supply the crude? Is he supposed to go and buy his crude outside? If you are not, because that's why some people say business, to do business in Nigeria is like, kidney gun.
Wait. Let's take this call from Emeka. Good morning. Are you there, Emeka? Hello, Emeka. Sorry for keeping you. I do apologize. I kept you for a long time. Yes, Mariam, you're going to say something.
My own is, we are borrowing trillions for our economy.
And they say we shouldn't remove subsidy now. That's costing up the head.
We've had ministers and Minister of State for Petroleum. We have, I mean, where were their eyes? What is really the function of keeping, who is supposed to help keep a check and balance? Are we saying that our NNPC and our Ministry for Petroleum, they are in cahoots in bringing, in mixing up these numbers? Because if we have data that shows this is the amount of petrol that we carry, that's offloaded, and we have data that shows amount that's consumed daily, and we have data that shows amount that's consumed annually. Where is the confusion? Why can't someone just exactly tell us where the products are going, where the money is going? And the problem about taking down subsidy, I think we're rushing over that. We need to be careful about it. I agree that subsidy should be taken off. I agree. But then we already have, what we're discussing now is that the price is based on the subsidy that, I mean, the amount we have been borrowing for subsidy, it has been tainted by the corruption that's obviously going on in that sector. The numbers are not right. So definitely the amount of money that has been put towards the purchase of petroleum products is not right. That means it has been hiked up based on the corruption that is happening. So if we take out subsidy, it would almost mean like a punishment of Nigeria, punishing Nigerians for daring to take off subsidy if we do not address this, the issue of corruption. How much really does it cost? What are these landing costs that we constantly hear about? How much does it cost to bring properly, if we follow the data and we do a proper forensic audit? Would we know how much it really costs for us to bring in petroleum products and how much it will cost, even with subsidy, to Nigerians? If we knew that for sure, maybe we will be able to afford subsidy. Maybe the problem is not even the subsidy that is the problem, but the fact that so much has been put on top of that subsidy to hide whatever corruption that is happening. If we take out subsidy, I believe that it would make it open, like how much Nigerians can pay for petroleum products. But if NNPC is still in charge solely of bringing in these products, how are we not sure that this landing cost and whatever cost that they say exists would not be passed on to Nigerians, and people are sitting down and making money off us? It's not fair. I feel that at the end of this conversation, let's not just make it a conversation thing. At the end of this conversation, this administration can do itself a big service by making sure we know exact numbers, how much it is that we're paying for petroleum products, how much Nigerians will pay really for this product.
Okay, let me take our guest has been holding for a minute, please. Let me take Dr. Onyeka Obiare. He's a financial and engineer, economist, consummate investment banker, and serial entrepreneur. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you being here, sir. So we've been discussing before you came on two main issues: the discrepancy between what the Controller General was saying about the amount of 98 million litres being released to the market from NNPC, while NNPC is saying that they actually have 60 million from NNPC, but the Finance Minister confirmed 68 million litres based on how much subsidy has been paid. But in your view, what is causing this discrepancy? And just like Mariam said, why can't we just have a government honestly come out and tell us exactly the numbers? Why is everything such shrouded in secrecy? Let us know exactly how much we are consuming as a nation and where the discrepancy is.
I actually blame the media. I actually blame you guys in the media space for not doing investigative journalism and media work in Nigeria. There is no ambiguity here. There is no even confusion. It's very simple. Nigeria is not the only country that import white petroleum product. But the problem is that the media and the rest of Nigeria National Assembly are too lazy, I'm sorry to use that word, to do their jobs of just simple investigation, forensic audit that unveils the fraud in the system. We have a regulatory agency in Nigeria in charge of downstream oil and gas sector, the DPR, Department of Petroleum Resources. The DPR records every single liter of petroleum products that lands in every depot in Nigeria. The DPR unambiguously told us in 2020 February, before the National Assembly, that our daily consumption average has been around 38.5 million litres. Historically, look back, under the Ziani, in 2011, when Nigeria was experiencing a boom, we were told that our average consumption was between 38 to 45 to 47 to 2 million litres a day. The National Assembly conducted the investigation and discovered that almost half of what they said they brought in were Ponzi games. Kachukwu Ibe became the Minister for State Petroleum Resources and the GMD of NNPC in 2016 and did an audit and told us that it averages between 28 and 35 million litres a day.
Okay.
Remember that the people that import this white petroleum product cannot boast. The Glencores, the Trafficoras, and the Muco, and all the rest of them, Petrol, they render reports and returns in host countries where they operate for tax purposes. They render the volume that they sell and where they take those volumes to. The U.S. Energy Administration Agency has a record of every petroleum product export, every country in the world. Their own record shows clear that Nigeria averages between 38 million to 48 million liters a day. So, are you guys not even worried that these numbers keep on fluctuating? Last year alone, this year alone, NNPC told us they moved the numbers from 50 to 73 million liters to 93 million liters, even to 102 a day. And people don't ask questions. Nobody bothers to find out from them. Who are the ghost consumers of this product? The DG of Customs, Ali, is right. They told us that 50 million liters were smuggled on a daily basis. To smuggle 50 million liters of PMS would require 1,800 super tankers, long haulage tankers. If you put those tankers on the road, line them up head to head, they will cover about 12.7 kilometers of road. How come? And they will require about 10,000 people to operate them. How do they pass through our borders? Customs and nobody sees them. These are Ponzi schemes. And if you look at the consumption volume of our neighboring countries, if you add up all their daily consumption volumes, from Cameroon to Benin Republic, to Niger, to Chad, to even to Togo, it's not up to 9.6 million liters a day. So we keep on allowing these guys, even India stated that clear that anytime there is increase in petroleum price in the global market, that is when they decide to increase the number of volume that they claim or purport to have imported here to enable them play Ponzi games. You know, it has become so opaque. Nobody is asking questions. Nobody is auditing anybody. Whatever they give to us, we'll swallow hook, line, and sinker. The only way we can stop this criminality in our downstream oil and gas sector, this Ponzi scheme, is to fully deregulate that market, privatize the refineries, and remove this subsidy monster. And people say, we are not going to be punishing Nigerians by removing subsidy. Let me tell you what will happen. They claim they are going to be spending 6.7 trillion naira in 2023. Half of that money, if you use half of that money to do palliatives, every local government area can easily have 20 buses, 10 articulated trucks, and cars that will provide free transport services for the next 2 years for Nigerians who are able to show their tax identification numbers. We've read the numbers. Each state will not spend more than 15 to 20 billion naira. And if you remove the subsidy scheme, every state can get as much as 15 billion naira extra into that region. But they will not allow them to have that money. So the governors will not loot it.
Okay,
allow the excess funds to move to the National Sovereign Wealth Fund and to drive it. See, the truth.
Dr. Meka, let me pause you for a second. I think, Dr. Meka, let me pause you for a second. Talk about what's the question? Yes.
Okay, sir. I hear you, and you know we always come up with this amazing suggestion. The minister already said that based on the current deficit that we had this year, by next year there will be no funds. They don't intend to fund capital projects next year. So even if they remove subsidy, the likelihood is they would want to spend it on capital projects. What would you suggest is the best use? And the current calculation we saw today was that subsidy is going to be costing, if we remove subsidy, each Nigerian will be spending over 400 naira per litre. Do you believe that that's the right calculation for the cost of fuel getting to each Nigerian's hand? And how best do you think we should spend our subsidy removal funds, what we save from subsidy? Actually, you already answered the second question, so just answer the first one.
Okay.
Dr. Emeka, are you there? Okay, we'll go on a break. When he comes back, we'll get him to answer that question. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing this issue of the NNPC, the amount of litres and the discrepancy and the allegation by the customs boss. And we have on the phone, I think, Dr. Emeka Onyeka Obiere. He's not yet connected back. We'll get him shortly. But I think, was it Dr. Nima wanted to say something?
Yes. Okay. Yes, I asked a question about the calculation, independent calculation, because it seems like we can't take the word of our agencies the way we should take them.
Yeah.
You know, we ought to believe whatever they say. But right now, we're taking it with a pinch of salt because we keep hearing contradicting figures. So my question to him was, based on his financial analysis, does he feel like the actual the figure they are telling us now is the actual cost that will bring petrol to every average Nigerian, which is about over 400 naira? That's the actual cost to bring the fuel, and I'm waiting for him to tell us his own analysis.
I'd like to open our phone lines. Let us hear from Nigerians. What are your thoughts on this? You can call us on 081-270-53687, 091-390-76948. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your view TVC so we can read it. Do we have any tweets already?
I don't want to. So I just also wanted to say that there's something that I'm aware of, I used to be aware of, and this was a scam that was, was discovered even during the Jonathan's regime, where companies would claim that they had imported a certain amount of products. Some would import much less than they would put down, and some would not import at all. But they will still go back to PPRA and get payments for this. So if, our guest was saying something about the 38 million discrepancy difference, if we really had those things physically available, there will be trucks that will be loading them, and they will be moving, that it will be so, it will not be hard to miss, the number of trucks that will be moving this. So this 38 billion, are they real products or are they invisible products? Are these products written on paper to just say that they're 98 or they're 60 or maybe they're just 30, but we're adding on top just to get the amount, the amount from government, but really we are not buying.
Let me take this call from Godwin. Yola. Good morning, Godwin. Are you there?
Yeah, good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, so it's to do with, I'm just really impressed with the analysis on the number of trucks that come in that should be coming daily into the depots and moving that huge number of liters of oil, and the situation around most of the states where you have porous borders where you see a lot of filling stations around the border towns that you hardly see them have a drop of oil to sell within the week, within the month, sometimes running 2 years. But you see trucks come around border towns, and a lot of questions about how our security agencies manage the borders are doing their work. I know, yes, a lot of the borders are porous, but you see a lot of this oil moving outside to neighboring countries at rates that you just don't know there are filling stations that these fuels are not ending there, but they're simply shipping them to other places. And yeah, in terms of the subsidy, in terms of the suffering, not just bearing the brunt here. So a lot needs to be done as to where these things are going to. I stay around here in Adamawa and places where you see a lot of activities in terms of this oil being moved out. And so it's not really Nigerians consuming all of this, and we keep carrying the load of others.
Thank you very much, Godwin, because I can't hide you. Now, let me come to you, Nima, because somebody was saying somewhere in the papers last week that we need to engage the use of the NICOM satellite. We have a satellite that can actually detect movements. Ordinary, is it the one that happened at NSAS? They got a different news, international news station to tell us the trucks that were coming in and shooting at the protesters. Now, if we don't even have, if NICOM is not working, let's use the same Google app to figure out how many trucks are leaving NNPC per time. To even record, because you can't tell me, the same issue we're having that this, who is feeding Boko Haram? Who is supplying ammunition to bandits? There are ways of detecting. So is it that the government is creating a total blind eye? Because you cannot tell me that nobody knows the actual figure that is moving out of our country. Not tell me you are waiting for 1 month to be noticing the porous borders. Oh, I saw 10 trucks. I saw 100. No. You got to have a better system of a satellite telling you how many trucks are leaving your country at per time.
So someone wanted to explain the meetings happening abroad with Nigerian presidential aspirants and said there's an unseen hand that we are working for. You know, I've always said we don't know who we are paying the subsidy for. So based on what Miriam said, Niconsat will not see truck.
I like
Yes, because it's not by truck. You don't have to deliver any petrol to get paid subsidy. You just have to get paperwork. We had it in Jonathan's time, the subsidy trial, subsidy scam, and nobody eventually went to jail. But if it's for goat meat, somebody would have gone to jail.
Exactly.
But for that magnitude of theft.
Yes, Emir Sanusi mentioned it then, the documentation.
So, you see, Sanusi's team, Okonjo-Iweala and that team, were the kind of, they are the kind of people we need. Even if it is not 100% truth, it will have an element of truth of the kind of scam happening. The reason this custom boss is speaking now is because I remember he had been someone that this is smuggling and it's under your watch, you must explain it. And he's saying, it's not possible. And that's why he was, vehemently questioning that NNPC should explain how. Because he never see that kind of smuggling happening. Now, the truth is, no
for those of us that are late comprehending people, I'm getting it, the full picture now.
I just need to get somebody and present paperwork. I get paid subsidy. I have already supplied fuel. Right. NNPC just needs to say it's 98 million we missed. They don't need to explain how it is consumed.
Okay, let me pause you for a second.
I said that you should do
let me pause you for a second. I have Eze holding for my jar. I'll come back to you, Nima. Good morning, Eze. Are you there?
Hello, yes, I'm here.
Live.
Okay, you see, the issue is we can't put the past before the horse, right? Because our borders are meant to be well developed. We need to develop the borders, have a proper structure. We all see what's attainable in Europe and in America, where the borders are solidly manned by customs. When we do that, these trucks, they are not invisible trucks. We have trackers, we have technology to track them from beginning to end. They cannot pass the bad routes, that's the smuggling routes, because that is where customs will not concentrate on. But if you go to up north, the border between Nigeria and Niger, you understand, it's just a walk-through thing. So our borders need to be well-manned.
Yes.
Then, of course, we know that this is like a syndicate. From DPL to the customs, they are all, the money that goes around per litre, the mass times volume, it's huge. It can go around. You understand? The police, the customs, and all law enforcement agents are
Mr. Eze, thank you. I mean, you're absolutely correct, Mr. Eze. So we are all talking about how much we can earn and save from subsidy and then put it elsewhere. But going back to what Nima had said, because I want to be sure I hear you, it's one thing to assume that the trucks are pushing out. So I'm saying that Nicomsat should give us satellite pictures. But there's another angle that, hey, it's not physical trucks that are moving. It's paper that is moving from point A to point B. Because we even say it, because if we say introduce technology to reduce paper movement, but even the technology that is reduced, we see what happened in the electronic thing they did in the ports. What's it called? The e-tracking system. How people circumvented that system, where you have a system that's supposed to tell you when to move into the depot to fill, but because brother, sister know somebody, you go, jump the queue, and then they alter it. So it's still a human, it's still us. So we need proper investigation to know exactly how this works.
The self-built tanks, those ones that we know, when you buy a normal 504, or suddenly the 504 is as high as a truck. That tank maybe will carry 50 litre, 100 litre across the border. So you see people carrying petroleum products in gallons on bikes across the border. That you can track. But if you want to use a truck, the size that our guest was talking about, how can somebody miss that? Except that's never moved.
Yeah, okay, let's take Josephine. Good morning, Josephine.
Yes, Momo.
How are you doing, Auntie Josephine?
Beautiful ladies.
How are you doing?
How are you?
Good.
Morayo, Nigeria problem is we have killers, not leaders. This is the same issue Jonathan said. The subsidy fraud is unbearable. Let Nigerians bear with it. Let them remove it. Let them remove it because he saw the fraud there. Buhari said there was nothing like subsidy. He should apologize to Nigeria, and that position that he's holding as the petroleum minister first is faulty because he's supposed to answer us. Up till now, 7 years, there could not be one refinery. At least they should borrow money and be a refinery. All this nonsense, we will not see it. Saudi Arabia, this Russia war now, they are gaining. Nigeria is losing electricity. Everybody depends on this petroleum product. The first thing they're supposed to do is their administration. They're supposed to build refinery. All this nonsense we are hearing, that supplies, they are not supplying, they are collecting money. They are collecting money at the detriment of Nigeria abroad.
Thank you very much, Josephine. You see, what's so annoying is that this issue of subsidy removal has become a political tool. You see how President this year was ready to remove subsidy, but then the politics season, campaign started, he said, we cannot remove subsidy. You know, they have to leave it. Next administration, whoever that is, would have to do it. So you keep making it a political conversation where it's based on, it's going to determine you're coming back. It's a party decision that if we vote, if we put it in, APC will lose. If we put it in, PDP will lose. Stuff like that. It's a conversation that
yes, but also over time, I feel that the Nigerians are more aware of what it really means. When this conversation of the subsidy or no subsidy started, especially during the Jonathan administration, many of us were not really sure of the games that were happening behind the scenes. But we have had enough time to understand, oh, okay, this is not as, as we thought. And so Nigerians right now, you'd hear there are many of us are on the part of, see, this thing does not look like it's an honest venture. Let us take it away and face the music the way it should be done. So I'm hoping, because this is this.
It's on your front page,
This conversation started because government cannot afford to do this anymore. Yeah. Nigerians are also speaking. You know, stakeholders are now involved in this conversation of if we collect this money, we will not do anything for your roads. There will be no capital projects, nothing going forward. So now Nigerians are looking at it carefully, and I feel that this government, this administration can just do better.
Let me take Lima.
I'll
come to you. I'll take your tips from you. Let me take Lima. Lima, are you there?
Yeah.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. My own opinion on this, the subsidy stuff should be removed completely. Because the whole thing is a scam. The president said that some years back that he is not even aware of subsidy, that subsidy never exists anywhere. So I don't know the reason why they are still giving an excuse that what we consume in days, monthly, yearly is this. They should forget about those figures. They're all scams. Please, I beg them. They should know that Nigeria is suffering. The fact remains that we are suffering. We all know that. So this thing should be removed. There are some of us that are using vehicles that don't even worth using vehicles for now. But why are we forcing ourselves into this? Let them remove it. If the price go to 800 per litre, it doesn't matter. If you don't have the power to afford it, drop your car and get an alternative. Thank you very much.
So the truth is, I don't think that the average Nigerian of today can afford 462 naira per litre for petrol. Because if they are estimating this to be it, we cannot afford this. And we must say it live. So the challenge will be for the government to let's block every loophole possible in the chain of getting the price of petrol down without paying subsidy. If we have local refineries, every single local refinery that we have should get crude oil first before it is being exported. Number two, if we know that we're going to be taking out refinery, our last guest already mentioned that we can decide that 50% of the subsidy will be going to the local governments to provide palliative public transportation. Because the reason everybody is using private car is because the public transportation isn't conducive enough. If there's an alternative, we will go with it. If you have not provided any alternative, you cannot impose hardship on the people you haven't given any other option to. It is hard enough as it is. Every time I buy, my petrol consumption price has increased so much. I'm like, every time I'm buying fuel, I'm like, are we buying fuel again? Are we buying fuel again? And imagine what it would be like if it goes higher. It is biting everybody. It is multiple taxation on all fronts. From everywhere you look to, there's inflation. So
let me say this.
So let's be realistic about what is achievable.
The hypocrisy of it that I say is that we are here and somebody imports a brand. Let me just use the brand, Kellogg's. We don't put down. It's being produced in Nigeria. There's an imported version. Or you import some brand that is an American or British brand. and you bring it, and then you are paying exactly what the British man or the American is paying in this country. You're paying higher for it here because you imported it here. So you can buy an American brand, but this is an international product that's been sold to the world on a certain figure, certain price. That's been imported to your country. Yes, you have the capacity to produce your own Kellogg's, your own cereal, your own fuel, but you're not producing it. Yeah. But you chose to import this same thing that from UK, you're importing the same products. By the time you bring it to Nigeria, you expect me to. So you're paying £100, for example, for your own Kellogg's, cereal, right? Yes. Now you bring it to Nigeria, you expect to pay 50 naira for it because, hey, it's in Nigeria, we don't have money, but we want to eat Kellogg's cereal. So the point I'm trying to make is that it's an international product.
Yes, and
there are different ports in the world where they're paying $2, £1 for this product per litre. We are not paying the exact same thing. Yes. It's been subsidized. So the reality is that it's not until we start producing our own and your modular refineries work and Dangote works, until then, is the international price we must be realistic. So the government is saying 462 to the litre. Guess what? Let's begin to adjust. Just like you said, it might be painful, it will be painful. When now, me and Tope, we start sharing generator, or we start planning with the community. Let us see how we can share it. There are different ways. The point is that it is our reality. We don't produce it just yet. And if you want this product, which is an international product, you have to pay the price. We can't let the government keep subsidizing, and then money is going to the pockets of some people.
I get your analogy, and it makes sense. But let me tell you where the problem is, using your cereal analogy. Yes. So you bring this in. Yes. When you bring it in, you put into consideration the amount you have brought it in, the transportation cost, whatever. That's what they call the landing cost, right? So what Nigerians are complaining about is that you said you bought in 100. And you see the way subsidy works is it's still our money. We are paying you for 100. But then we find out that it's not 100 you brought in. It's not 100 boxes of cereal you brought in. It's actually 50. So the extra money we gave you was for what? Where did that money go? And then you're insisting, and then now you're saying, okay, we're not going to do the subsidy. We'll do it. You will pay exactly what it costs to pay. But we're saying, how do we even trust that this is the amount to pay? We could not trust you with the amount that you said you were bringing in. How can we trust you with the logistics amount that you're talking about? And that is where the conversation of, if we have data, why aren't people looking at this data? Data would not lie. I mean, if there's no human intervention.
Nima, going still on your analogy. So the transparency we seek is not to reduce the cost. Is to reduce or to stop the subsidy, because even if it's only 50 you're bringing in, you're still going to pay it at a premium price. Yes. So it's not going to reduce the cost. It's only going to tell us, okay, I don't have to pay this extra money because then I can save that money for something else.
Let me also tell you what's annoying. Yes. So I've been paying you that you're bringing 100 boxes. Yeah. And I've been, instead of 50, that 50, I would have used it to build my own manufacturing company here long ago. And I would have been able to bring it. So it now seems like you're deliberately sabotaging me so that I am not able to produce, so I can keep putting money into this.
That's the real issue.
Those are the questions.
Those are the real issues. We have to run, but let's take a few comments. I know Nima had some comments.
The fact that our refineries are incapacitated is the biggest fraud. The states and other private individuals are not allowed to refine is another scam. These anomalies are happening to enable few people to loot us in the name of subsidy payment. Sanusi says, NNPC Limited was sold out to marketers. What would be next for now? And Chigozie says, the truth is that a country like Nigeria should not have business with importation of all petroleum products. That is the real case. We should stop looking at what is actually being imported. Let's focus on having more than 50 refineries working efficiently in Nigeria.
Okay, we have to wrap up because, we have to do Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. But I think in a nutshell, what we seek from our government is transparency. Now, NNPC is saying they are going to be allowing their books to be opened. I don't know how far what they mean by that. Now they are somewhat. But let us see. Once they offer their books to be audited, let us see what we'll review what we find there. But the real conversation with Nigerians, the reality we must begin to have a conversation on is the real price we may be faced to pay going forward, if indeed we are serious about taking out subsidy. That's all we can take on the show today. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.